Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. In our last session, we had come up to 25th shloka. Parapremaspadataya manabhuvam aham sada bhuyasamiti yo drashta soham ityavadharaya. In our last session, we saw the Soham sadhana, which began from the 18th shloka, the one due to whose proximity the gross body and the senses they function. So that is Saha Aham, that I am. So here onwards, this Atma is explained as Saha Aham. Dehin Deha Indriya Adaya Bhava Hanadi Vyapati Kshama Yassa Sannidhi Matrena Soham Iti Avadharaya. So all these, the gross physical body, all the movements in that, the senses and their functions, the sense organs and the organs of action, all of those, they act. The mind, the intellect, the pranas. So all these function and act, yasya sannidhi matrana, just by in the presence of that. So in whose presence all these act or appear to be sentient, though they are insentient and jada inert, they appear to be sentient, living, because of whose presence. Saha aham, that I am, this is what we have to ascertain. Then further, anapanna vikara san, ayaskantava devaya, buddhyadi chalayet pratyak, saha aham iti avadharaya. So now we have seen that apanna vikara is that which is subject to modification. Anapanna vikara is that which is not subject to any modification. So only with the presence of this buddhyadi chalayet pratyak, within this buddhyadi, buddhi, etc., they function because of that. Saha miti avadharaya. Now here the example is also given as ayaskantavad eva. Ayaskantavad, like the magnet. Now in our samsara we see that if we have to make a device function, either electricity will be spent or some fuel will be spent. One of the two will be there. But in the presence of the self, all these things functions without any loss of anything to the self. It is not that because it is powering all the body, mind, senses and all that thing, and so many gross bodies are there, so many subtle bodies are there in this world, in the samsara, so it is getting spent or something like that. No. And the example that is given is that ayaskantava deva, like the magnet, in the presence of the magnet, the iron filings on the sheet of paper below which the magnet is held, they move around due to the power of that magnet, and that magnet doesn't lose anything in that. It is only in its presence these iron filings act. So also in the presence of this self, everything acts without any loss to the self as such. Then अजडात्मवत् आभान्ति यत् सानिध्यात् जडा अपि देहेन्द्रिय मन प्राणः सोहम इति अवधारय. Now, though these deha, indriya, mana, prana, etc., they are all jada, inert, insentient, or non-living, they appear to be ajadatmavad and abhanti, that is ajadatmavad, as if it is non-inert, ajadatmavad. So it is sentient. They appear sentient and dynamic. Though it is jada, though it is insentient, yet sannidhi, because of the close proximity of that, they all appear to be sentient. Saha ahamiti avadharaya, that I am, that we have to ascertain or that we have to understand. This inert is that which exists for others, whereas the sentient is that which exists for its own self, independently. Then, agaman me manah anyatra sampratam cha sthirikrutam evam yah veti dhivrittim soham iti avadharaya. Similarly, in the mind also, my mind went somewhere or my mind got disturbed, and now the mind is at rest now. So all the modifications of the mind is known. Earlier my mind was restless, now it is at rest. Earlier it was disturbed, now it is at peace. So all these modifications are known. So evam yaha veti dhivrittim. So the one who knows this, the knower of this, saha aham iti avadharaya. So that we have to understand as the self, the pure self. Then, because as a witness, as a sakshi, we are in the know of all that is happening. The body actions, the modifications of the body that which can easily see, which we can see easily. The wrinkles of the skin, the graying of the hair, the losing of the eyesight, the losing of the hearing, and all that thing, the modification that is going on as the body ages, that is known. Inside also, the physiological changes and all that thing that is happening, that is the usual process of modification that is going on. Externally, we can see the senses, the body, the pranas, the changes in the pranas, as well as the changes in the type of emotions or feelings or sentiments that are entertained in the mind and the thoughts that are entertained in the intellect. So these are all known. So the one who is the knower of all this has to be other than all this and know that to be saha aham iti avadharaya. Swapna jagarti sukti bhava abhava udhyam tatha यह वेत्ति अविक्रियः साक्षात् सह सोहमिति अवधारय सह अहमिति अवधारय. So all these three states of consciousness, the Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti, the waking, dream and the deep sleep state, bhava bhavam vyakata. So the bhava, appearance and disappearance of the intellect. So the subtle body is active in the waking plane and the dream state of consciousness, but not in the deep sleep state of consciousness. So it is present in the waking and the dream state and absent, abhava, in the deep sleep state. So that is also illumined or known. So all these three planes of consciousness is known. Their absence also. In the waking plane, there is an absence of dream and deep sleep state. In the dream state, the absence of waking and the deep sleep. And in the deep sleep state, the absence of waking and the dream. So their presence and absence, their changes, and the bhava and abhava, the intellect also, appearance and disappearance, yaha vetti, the one who knows, avikriya, which is not subject to any modification or change. Avikriya. So, sakshat. Saha ahamiti avadharaya. So this is all the Soham sadhana that has been prescribed here. Then this was also discussed. Ghata Ghatava bhasakah deepah ghatad anyah yatha ishyate deha bhasakah dehi tatha aham bodha vigraha. So as the example that was given is that as the lamp illumines the pot, which is kept inside a pot and illumines the complete pot, but that lamp is not part of the pot. Lamp is different from the pot, which illumines the pot. So ghatava bhasaka deepa ghatat anyah yathaishyate. So it is anya, other than the ghata or the pot. Deha avabhasakah dehi. Similarly, that which illumines this body and their functions and their activities, that is also other than that. Tatha aham bodha vigraha, that is a homogeneous mass of pure consciousness, that I am. So that which illumines the body, senses, pranas, mind and the intellect, their modifications, their activities, their functions, everything. So that I am. Then in the 24th shloka, it was said that putra vittadayoho bhavaha yasya sheshataya priya drashta sarva priyatam sahaham iti avadharaya. So putra adaya bhavaha, putra, the son, wealth, etc. All these things are dear to us not for their own sake. Son is not dear to the father, not for the son's sake, but for the father's sake. It is for my sake the son is dear to me, not for the son's sake. Wealth is dear to me not for the wealth's sake, but for my sake. As long as that is giving me, procuring me some kind of joy, pleasure or happiness, then that is dear to me. So these are all, but drashta sarva priyatam. Everything else is there, everything is there, all the things and beings in this world, they are there, but they are dear to us as long as they give us some kind of joy, pleasure or happiness. If that which was giving us some kind of pleasure, joy or happiness at one time, now they cease to give that, or on the contrary, they become the cause of sorrow, misery or pain, then we don't hesitate to discard that also. So we get rid of that. So, drashta sarva priyatam. The seer is the dearest of all. We love ourselves the most, more than all the objects of enjoyment or pleasure. So, I am dearest to me for my own sake. Unlike things and beings are dearest to me again for my sake. They are not dear to me for their sake, but I am dear to me for my own sake. So, we all love ourselves the most. Param premaspadataya mana bhuvam aham sada. This putra vitta, putra and vitta adaya. This thing we have discussed exhaustively in Panchadashi also. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. So only for the sake of the self, everything is dear to us. As long as they give us some kind of pleasure, joy, or happiness. So when they stop giving those pleasure, joy, or happiness, then we are not interested in that. Or if on the contrary, they become the cause of our pain, sorrow, or misery, we discard that. So Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. And then to this self, param premaspadataya, loved the most, param premaspadataya, mana bhuvam, I should never cease to be. Aham sada, I should ever be. Never cease to be, I should ever be. Mana bhuvam aham sada. Nobody wants to go out of existence. Always everybody wants to be. Bhuyasamiti yah drashta sohamiti avadharaya. So, thus, that overwhelming, why we have this sense that I want to always be? Because actually, we are beginningless and eternal. Because of our own avidya, ignorance, we are unable to comprehend that. Our subconscious mind may be knowing it very well, therefore, we do not even like the idea of death. So, though we see people dying around us due to various reasons, and for saying sake, we also say one day I will also die, and like that. But that death is that in ignorance, we feel that it is going out of existence. That is not acceptable to us, though we may say like that. It is not acceptable to us. Nobody wants to go out of existence. Mana bhuvam aham sada. I should never cease to be. I should ever be. It couldn't be unless it is our essential nature. Our existence, continuous existence, unless it is our essential nature, this thing would not be there. If just because our essential nature is ananda, therefore we cannot tolerate misery, sorrow, or pain in our life. Similarly, our essential nature is pure existence. There was no time when we never existed, and there will be no time when we'll cease to exist. And therefore, the very thought of going out of existence is alien to us. It is not acceptable to us. Saha avadharaya. So that is the dearest of all, Param Premasvat, most love. Now, till here we are done in our last session. Today we begin a new shloka, 26th shloka. Yah sakshi lakshano bodha tvam padarthassa uchyate sakshitvam api bodhrutvam avikaritayaatmanah. यह साक्षी लक्षणः बोधः त्वं पदार्थः स उच्यते साक्षित्वम् अपि बोधृत्वम् अविकारितयात्मनः. Now, sakshi lakshana, whose lakshana is, or defined by lakshana is witnesshood, sakshi lakshana, that conscious self, which is sakshi lakshana, that is the artha of tvam, tvam padartha sa uchyate. Now the sakshitvam api bodhrutvam avikaritayatmana, that self which is not subject to any modification or change, avikari. This sakshitvam api bodhrutvam, this sakshitvam is actually nothing but illuminator itself, the illuminating power of the pure self itself, sakshitvam api. So it is not different. This sakshi is not different from that pure self, which is the illuminator, which illumines everything. In the relative term, tvam is understood as jiva. That is in the relative term. Or in ignorance, in avidya, in ignorance, then we understand this tvam as jiva. But it is the pure self. Now, water is the swarupa of all the water bodies like sea, ocean, river, lake, pond. Plus, it is the swarupa of the waves, ripples, bubbles, snow, ice, and so on. They are all the swarupa. So also, consciousness is the swarupa of vrittis, the thoughts, swarupa of all the forms, names and forms, mind, everything. It is the swarupa. This consciousness is the swarupa. All the senses, all the experiences, the consciousness is the swarupa. The essence is that, without which nothing can be known. So experiences are illusory. When all the experiences cease, then what is left to be illumined? So when all experiences cease, then there are no more vrittis to illuminate. Then what is left is one, that is vasturahitaha, vrittirahitaha, that is thought-free. Vasturahita, that is objectless. That is the pure self. That is what remains when there is nothing else to be illumined. So this consciousness is a swarupa, like the water is swarupa of all these modifications of water. Similarly, consciousness is swarupa, all the vrittis, the experiences, objects and mind and things like that. And when everything ceases, what will it illumine? It remains self-illumined as thought-free, object-free, objectless, pure awareness, true self. And it is avikari, not subject to any modification. So the problem is our ajnanta is the main problem. In the 27th shloka, Adi Shankaracharya says, Dehendriya mana prana hankritibhyo vilakshana projita shesha shadbhava vikarastvam padabhidah Dehendriya mana prana ahankritibhyah vilakshana projita shesha shadbhava vikarah tvam padabhidah. Now, with this shlok ends the Tvam Pada Shodhana. We started in the shlok 17 by showing the self different from the gross and the subtle body. Now here, avikaratvat tvam padabhihi. So self is avikari. And projita shesha shadbhav. First is deham indriya mana prana ahankritibhyah vilakshana. So deha indriya mana, body, sense organs, mind and the prana, the vital air, ahankriti, the ego. The self is distinct or different, absolutely different from all these. Projita shesha shadbhavah vikaras tvam padabhidah. And it is absolutely free from the shadbhava vikara. That is the sixfold modification. That is for the matter. You see, vikara is the destiny of all matter. Only matter alone undergoes all the vikara. Every material form has to undergo this vikara in the universe. They undergo the Shad Vikara. What is the Shad Vikara? The Shad Vikara is birth, existence, growth, decay, disease, and death. They are the sixfold modification, Shad Vikara. So, Protisha Shesha Shad Bhava Vikara. So, it is absolutely free from this sixfold modification, this self. Even not just the gross body, but even the subtle body also undergoes the modification, because the mind and the intellect doesn't remain the same all the time. So they also change. Ego also changes within the body. They are all subject to change under the compulsion of the law of change, law of modification. Only thing that doesn't change is the law of change. Everything else changes. So, and it is unavoidable in the world of matter or padartha. So therefore, due to ignorance only, what happens is that we take this jada form, this inert sthula body, to be the real self, to be our own self, of course, because of ignorance. And though in essence we are not that, and therefore certain things, though we see it around us, it is not acceptable to us, because somewhere in the subconscious mind, probably that essence illumines. That essence is there, which lies there, and therefore we have this feeling that this cannot be it. There has to be something beyond what we see, what we experience. And that life cannot just, someday we are born and then someday we'll die and that is the end of the story. It cannot be that. There has to be something more than that. So, but looking at the body parts, this gross body and all that thing, we think this body to be the real, that I am this body, because this is what we have known all the time. So, but they can't function without the conscious self. The conscious self has to be there for it to function. And this conscious self is there in all forms, in all bodies, gross and subtle bodies. It is one essential self. Here, the knowledge is that either like this body, all the bodies I am, or if I am not this body, none of the bodies I am. But ignorance is what? This body I am and other body I am not. And this is the ignorance. Because if we have comprehended the all-pervading self, then that is all pervades, that is the thing that pervades to all forms. And therefore, and that is the essence. Without that, they cannot exist. As the water is Swarupa of the ocean, of the river, pond, lake, waves, ripples, bubbles, ice, snow. Remove the water from all these. What will exist? They will not exist. The sea or ocean or the ice or snow and all these, they are the various names and forms, but the thing is the same. Because of ignorance, we are unable to comprehend it. Now, verses 28 to 36 explains our contemplation. Now, the Tvampada Shodhanam is over in the last shloka. Now, the Tatpada Shodhanam starts in the Tattvamasi Mahavakya. So, this 28 to 36 shloka is for our contemplation in the deeper meaning or the Lakshartha or the indicative meaning of this Tvampada, the Tat, that. Now, 28 shloka. Tvamartham eva nishchitya tadartham chintayet punaha atad vyavrutti rupena sakshad vidhimukhena cha tvam padartham tvamartham evam nishchitya. Now we have already ascertained the term tvam. Now in Tattvamasi nishchitya tadartham chintayet punah. Now again we'll contemplate, reflect and discuss about tadartham. That is tatpada, that. Atad vyavrutti rupena, that is with the method of negation, sakshat vidhimukhena, and taking the help of the scriptures. Now there are these Vyatirek and Anvay sadhana, they are there. By language of negation, that is neti neti, Tvampada is established. Tatpada Shodhanam. Now Tatpada Shodhanam also, Vyavrutti Rupena also it is established. But Tatpada is path of bhakti also. That is the Anvaya sadhana. It is called Anvaya. That is, the devotee sees the Lord as everything and nothing else. So that is Anvaya sadhana. Now, it is difficult for the jiva to comprehend the meaning of this Tvam due to the millions of lives lived in ignorance of the real self. So, of the reality. Now, from the jiva standpoint, what is Tvam and Tat? From the jiva standpoint, Tvam pada meaning, direct meaning is Tvam pada is the finite individual self, which has the karta bhokta bhava, the doership notion and the experiencership notion, that is jiva, that is the Tvam padartha from the jiva standpoint out of ignorance. And the Tat pada artha is, Tat pada is Ishvara. Ishvara, who is Sarvajna, Sarvavyapi, Sarvashaktiman, who has created this world and all that. So that is from the standpoint of the jiva. So there is, and then there is the samashtiyaham and the vyashtiyaham. That is the individual ego and the total ego. So Ishwar is the total ego. How does Ishwar become total ego? It is the same Brahman only. Brahman with the conditioning, Upadi, or the conditioning of Maya Shakti is Ishvara, the total ego. And same Brahman with the conditioning or Upadi of ignorance, Avidya, is the Vyashti, or the individual ego. Vyashti Aham, or the individual ego. So when this ignorance is eliminated, when we get rid of this ignorance to the knowledge, so then we transcend ignorance. When we transcend the Maya and comprehend the essence behind Jiva and Ishvara to be Brahman, to be one's own self, the pure self, that Brahman. So here, Atad Vyavrutti Rupena Sakshat Vidhi Mukena. Now the two ways Tatpada Artha will be discussing. In the now the 29th and the 30th shloka, they are giving examples of this negation, Vyatireka style, and assertion or the Anvaya style employed effectively in indicating the meaning of Tat as Brahman or the pure self. 29th shloka is the negation. Through negation, now the Tat is indicated. How? Nirasta Shesha Sansara Dosho Stuladi Lakshanam Adrushatvadi Gunakaha Parakrutatamo Malaha Nirasta Ashesha Sansara Doshaha Astuladi Lakshana Adrushatvadi Gunakaha Parakrutatamo Mala. So, Nirasta Ashesha Sansara Dosha. So now, here, Vachartha of Tvam, that is Jiva, and Lakshartha is the self, the pure self, the Sakshi of all experiences, of all beings. This Vachartha and Lakshartha we have seen as Tvampada. The Vachartha of Tatpada also we have seen as Ishvara. Now the Lakshartha, who is actually in the Sansara, Ishvara is in the Sansara and has Maya for his Upadi. Now here, at the Samashti level, the pure self functions through Maya as Ishvara and Vesti level through Avidya as Jiva. This is the two levels. Now, similarly, as the Jiva has got the three Sharira, that is Sthula, Sukshma and Karan Sharira, that is gross physical body, subtle body and the causal body. Similarly, this Ishvara has also got the three Sharira. So the gross body is the Virata, the subtle body is the Hiranyagarbha, and the causal body, the Karan Sharira, is the Maya. So these are the three Sharira of this Ishvara. So now, here, that Tatpada is described in the terms of negation. Nirasta Ashesha. Now we have seen Tvampada and the Ishvara. Jiva and Ishvara we have seen. Now Tatpada here in the terms, in the negation terms. What is that? Nirasta Ashesha Sansara Dosha. So here Brahman, the Lakshartha of Tat is shown by the language of Nisheda or negation. Now, that where there is a sense of otherness or duality and the limitations of space, time, object and causation. So that is Sansara. So what is Sansara? Sansara is that where there is a sense of otherness or sense of duality, there is a limitation of space, time, object, and causation, that is samsara. And its absence is tat. Nirasta ashesha sansara dosha. Ashesha means absolute absence of sansara dosha. The imperfections of sansara, sansara dosha, that is absolutely absent. And the sansara dosha is this only. The sense of duality, sense of otherness, limitations of space, time, object, and causation, they are the sansara dosha. This sense of duality, you see, when we talk of moksha or liberation, liberation from what? Liberation from this duality or the sense of otherness. Duality is a bondage. In what way this duality is bondage? Because, see, if you look at this duality, experiencer and that which is experienced, enjoyer and that which is enjoyed, seer and that which is seen, knower and that which is known. This is the duality. Now, the experiencer is bound by that which is experienced in both ways. If that which is experienced gives him joy, pleasure, or happiness, then the experiencer is bound by that. I have to always keep getting this particular joy, pleasure, or happiness. That is the bondage, bound by that. And even if it is a cause of pain, sorrow, or misery, then too there is a bondage. I should never get this. There is a bondage. And if it comes in our life, then we become miserable. So we are bound by that which is experienced, that which is known, that which is seen. The seer is bound by that. And in the pure self, this triputi is not there. Seer, seen, and seeing, experiencer, experienced, and experiencing, or knower, known, and knowledge. So this triputi is absent in the pure self. So basically, when we talk of moksha or liberation, it is getting rid of this bondage, this the sense of duality or sense of otherness, because this is what this bondage is all about. Nirasta ashesha sansara dosha. So now in negation, tat is indicated. Tat is that where there is absolute absence of sansara dosha, which is the sense of otherness or duality, limitations of space, time, and causation, and object. So that is absolutely absent. That is tat. So one negatively indicated. By negation, it has been indicated. That is tat. Astuladi lakshana. Again, which is not gross, which is not subtle. Astuladi lakshana. So it is again indicated in negation. It is neither gross nor subtle, and so on. Adrushatvadi gunakaha. So, adrushvadi gunakaha, that which is imperceptible. Again, through negation, it is indicated. Adrushvadi, it is imperceptible. Parakruta tamomala. Parakruta tamomala. Tamomala is the darkness. Totally free from the tamoguna. The darkness of tamoguna. Or ajnana. Tamoguna or ignorance. Totally free from that. Where there is absence of this tamoguna or ajnana, totally free, or where there is total absence of that, negation again. So this is what it is. So, and that tat, it can't be an object of knowledge, but it is the supreme subject of everything. So here now Adi Shankaracharya ji has indicated that tat through negation. Now in the next shloka, it will be through assertion. Now here it is through assertion in Shlok 30. Nirastatishayanandah satya prajnana vigrahah satta swalakshana purnah paramatmeti giyate. Nirasta atishayananda satya prajnana vigraha satta swalakshana purnah. param atmeti giyate. That is what the scriptures say, that is param atmeti. Nirasta atishaya ananda. Nirasta atishaya ananda. Now, nirasta word came in the previous shloka also. Nirasta shesha sansara. Nirasta. Now, here the meaning given for this nirasta is free from. Ashesha. Ashesha means nothing is left, all the sansara dosha. Now, nirasta. Nirasta, astama. Astami is setting, that setting sun. Astama udeti, rising and setting of the sun. Nirasta, where there is no setting. Where there is no setting means where there is no end. Where there is no end means that which is eternal. Nirasta. Atishaya ananda. Atishaya ananda. So that ananda that cannot be measured, that cannot be calculated or measured. You cannot have any yardstick for that ananda as such. That is infinite bliss. Nirasta atishaya ananda, infinite bliss, where it is eternal. What is our experience in this world? We draw some kind of joy, pleasure, or happiness from this world, and they last for a few seconds, few minutes, couple of hours, maybe a day or two. The euphoria is there, and after that we are back to square one. This is what our experience is for millions of lives together. So to comprehend this, that it is Atisha Ananda and Nirasta, never ending, eternal, 24/7, every moment. That is, we cannot comprehend that. Nirasta Atisha Ananda. So this is now indication of Tat through assertion. Earlier it was negation, now here it is through assertion. Atisha Ananda, that cannot be measured. We cannot even comprehend what it will be. Generally, happiness or joy or pleasure is associated with experiencing some kind of sense objects. Just by sitting and doing nothing, how can be in infinite bliss? How can we be in infinite bliss? So that is difficult to comprehend, because this is what for millions of lives we have experienced, that we enjoy something delicious, or we see something beautiful, we hear something good, we smell something fragrant, and that is how we draw some, eke out some joy, pleasure, or happiness from this world. And without doing anything, just sitting and doing anything, and you are into an infinite blissful state, that to comprehend or understand is very difficult. But nirasta atishay ananda, that is the tatpada. Then satya prajnana vigraha. Satya prajnana vigraha means it is the pure consciousness where there is no thought process. Pure consciousness means that is thought-free, objectless, pure awareness, where there is no thought process at all. That is pure bodha ghana, or homogeneous mass of consciousness. And satta swalakshana purna. Satta swalakshana, existence is its lakshana. That is, it is not the effect of any cause. Existence is its swalakshana. It is its essence. It is not the effect of it. It is not there because of something. No, it is not the effect of any cause. It is the causeless cause of everything, but it is not an effect of any cause. Satta swalakshana purna. Purna is, simple meaning is complete, but Purna is also infinite. Purna is infinite, and that which is infinite is all pervading. So Purna, infinite, all pervading, Satta Swalakshana, Param Atmeti Giyate. So this Purna, thus this Paramatma is spoken of by the scriptures. Paramatmeti iti Giyate is spoken of as scriptures. Now, these are the words that are assertive of this Tatpada, this Brahman. They are only used as an indication, as pointers. Because that which is infinite, that which is beyond words, cannot be described by words. We have to understand this very clearly. So all these description, these are just the pointers given in the scriptures, because absolute truth cannot be spoken of in words. So these are the indicators or pointers given to the seeker to have some kind of idea about what his own real self is. This Tatpada. So these are not the description of the absolute truth. We cannot take this as the description, but they are the pointers, sufficient pointers, because that which is beyond words cannot be described in words, as simple as that. So this shloka 29 and 30 gives us the lakshartha of tatpada, one by vyatireka, by negation, and the other by anvaya, or by assertion. Now, having said that, in the next shloka, in the 31st shloka, Adi Shankaracharya says, Sarvajnatnyam pareshatvam tatha sampurna shaktita Veda samarthyate yasya tad brahmetyavadharaya Sarvajnatvam pareshatvam tatha sampurna shaktita Vedaihi samarthyate yasya tad brahma iti avadharaya. Now, Sarvajnatvam, that is all-knowing, Pareshatvam, the supreme, Tatha Sampurna Shaktita, all-powerful. And Vedas also assert that Samarthyate has been proved. Vedas also prove it. Samarthyate yasya tad brahma iti avadharaya. Now here, Brahma is declared, this Brahman is declared as Nimitta Karana, or the efficient cause. And in the next 5 verses, the same Brahman is shown as the Upadan Karana, or the material cause for this creation of this Srishti, or the Sansara, this Mayavi Sansara, or Srishti. So here now, Ishwar is Brahman, as well as Brahman appears as the names and forms in this Sansara. So here, Brahman as Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, and Sarvavyapi. Brahman as Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, and Sarvavyapi. Brahman is not Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi. Why? Because as regards that absolute truth is concerned, Brahman is concerned, it is Ekameva Advitiya, one without a second, non-dual. Other than that, nothing exists. That is the only thing. Now, for that entity, other than that which nothing exists, you cannot call it as Sarvajna. What is that to be known if nothing exists other than it? For that, there is nothing to be known. So you can't call it as Sarvajna. Then that alone exists. So it is you to call it as Sarvavyapi is also not correct. That alone exists everywhere. That alone is there. So Sarvavyapi also should not be called. There is no need to call it Sarvavyapi. And Sarvashaktiman, what will you do with all the Shakti? For what purpose? Because that alone exists and nothing else exists. What is the Shakti for? But Ishvara needs all this, Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, and Sarvavyapi, because Ishvara has to create this Srishti. So this Brahman with the Upadhi of Maya, that Ishvara, he has to be Sarvajna, means he has to know all the vasanas of all the jivas to create the Srishti according to the total vasanas. So that when these jivas are born on the planet, they can fulfill their desires. So he has to be in the know for that. So he has to be Sarvajna. Then of course he has to be Sarvashaktiman to create this with the help of this Maya Shakti. And to know all the vasanas of all the jiva, he has to be sarvavyapi also. Everybody's mind, he has to be there to know the total vasanas, and according to that, he has to create the srishti. So, and this srishti, for the creation of this srishti, three karanas are there. The material cause, the instrumental cause, and the efficient cause. The upadan karan, yantrik karan, and the nimitta karan. The efficient cause or the intelligent cause behind this creation. So as a pot, to make a pot, we have all these causes separate. The material cause of the pot is mud. The instrumental cause is the potter's wheel. And the efficient or the intelligent cause is the potter himself, who gives the shape to the pot. So they are different. When a spider makes its web, all three causes are rolled into one. The material for the web, the material cause of the web comes from the spider's mouth. The instrumental cause is spider itself, and the efficient cause is also the spider itself. So it keeps running around and making the thing, and it is the intelligent behind that also, efficient cause behind that also. So similarly, in this creation of this world also, there is no separate material cause or instrumental cause or efficient cause or something like that. It is all one alone. One same thing appearing like that. And generally, when we see in the world, for example, if you take the pot's example, if the pot is destroyed, the effect is destroyed, nothing happens to the efficient cause, the potter. If the pot is broken, nothing happens to the pot maker or the potter. So similarly, if the effect is destroyed, nothing happens to the cause or the efficient cause behind this. So, Sarvajnatyam Parishatam. Now, again, this Tat Pada is described as in the form of Ishvara. Sarvajnatvam Parishatam, Supreme Self. Tata Sampurna Shaktita. And that is what Vedas also prove. Yasya Tad Brahma iti Avadharayat. Having said that, now in the 32nd shloka, Yajnanat Sarva Vijnanam Shrutishu Pratipaditam Mrutadyene Kadrishtantaihi Tad Brahmetyavadharaya. Yajnanat Sarva Vijnanam Shrutishu Pratipaditam Mrutadyene Kadrishtantaihi Tad Brahma iti Avadharaya. Now this shloka is from Chandogya Upanishad. Yajnanat Sarva Vijnanam. Having known that everything is known, Shrutishu Pratipaditam. Here, Shruti, example from the Shruti is taken to prove that the effects are cause itself in some other form. All the different forms. So, mud itself appears in different names and forms of the mud pots or mud vessels, one can say. They appear in different forms. Their functions may be different, but the essential cause is mud alone. They may be different and they are impermanent, temporary, but the cause is permanent. Even if the mud pot is broken, nothing happens to mud. Its current is ever. In all mud vessels, mud is the reality and mud survives all the pots because it is the cause behind it. Similarly, this Vikari Sansara has the Avikari substratum, Avikari Karana. So therefore, even though the Sansara may be keeping on changing, subject to modification, transformation, destructions, and so on, but nothing happens to the Karana, which is unchanging. That is the absolute Brahman. So now, by knowing the essential nature of the cause, the essential nature of all the effects can be known. If the cause is known, the effects can be known. Without knowing the cause, the effects cannot be known. Once we know the cause, the effects are known. So, by knowing the cause, the mud of all the pots, all the pots and all the names and forms of mud can be known by knowing the mud. What all the shapes it can take and all that thing can be known. But without knowing mud, which is the essence of the mud pot, then nothing can be known. Similarly, by knowing the goldsmith, we cannot know the gold ornaments. But by knowing the gold, the cause of the gold ornaments, we can know all the gold ornaments. Isn't it? So also, all become known when the pure knowledge is realized. Yad jnanat sarva vijnana. Having known that one, everything is known. So, Brahman is the upadan karana, that is the material cause of this entire srishti, knowing which the essence of all is known. So just one is to be known. So yas jnanat sarva vijnanam shrutishu pratipaditam mrudadhyanaika drishtantaihi tad brahma iti avadharayat. So we have to know only one. We don't have to know everything. There may be different vessels of different sizes. The bigger one, the smaller one can be put inside that, and then inside that and inside that the smaller ones. So there are 10 of them, 10 different sizes, and one, the biggest one is there. All the remaining 9 comes in that. So if we lift the one, the biggest one, the other 9 also come automatically with that. Isn't it? So we don't have to lift that separately, take that separately. But if you pick one out of that, the smallest one, the others still remain. So similarly, knowing each and every object, go and search and this and that and all that thing, no need for that. We have to know the essential cause, the essence of that thing. If that is known, everything is known. Once the essence is known, then it is known. Essence of ornament, gold is known, then all the ornaments are known. Essence of all the mud vessels, mud is known, then all the mud vessels are known. So similarly, yas jnanat sarva vijnana. Having known that, everything is known. Then there is nothing to be known actually, because that alone exists and everything is modification of that alone. Actually, if you look at it, effects are, if there is an effect, there has to be a cause. There cannot be an effect without a cause. And if you further investigate, then we will come to realize that all the effects are nothing but the modification of the cause, or the cause itself appearing as the effect in one way or the other. So, because of the limitations of the organs of perception, the cause is not seen, only the effect is seen. And actually the cause is appearing as the effect, but that is not seen. Say for example, wheat grains, we see it has got a specific size, color and shape and weight and all that thing, it is different. And if you look at wheat flour, it is absolutely different. White, fine powder and everything, and wheat grains are, these two are kept together, nobody say they are the two are the same thing. One is some white powder, the other is wheat grain, but this wheat grain itself is the other one. The cause itself appears as the effect as wheat flour. Further, if water is added to that and it is kneaded, it will appear something different, kneaded flour. And then if some rotis are baked out of that, then it will appear different. Then if it is baked, it will appear different. Or the same flour is, if yeast is added to that and baked, it will appear different like bread. But the essential cause is wheat. If from that flour, the kneaded flour, the rotis, or the bread, the wheat is removed, then they cease to exist. So having known the wheat, all the modifications, all the effects, all the different forms of the wheat can be known. The essence is wheat. Similarly, in this, yas jnatva jnanat, yas jnanat sarva vijnana. So having known that, everything is known. So we have to know only one thing, and we don't have to go on investigating everything. In science, every phenomena is investigated. In the science of the self, only one thing we have to investigate, our own self, that's all. And having known that, the entire phenomena becomes clear to us. The Ananta Koti Brahmanda becomes clear to us. We do not have to investigate the Ananta Koti Brahmanda and all its phenomena separately. No, that is not required. But in the science, the phenomenal science, we have to study the every phenomena separately and understand and all that thing. But knowing the self, one, everything is known. Having said that, okay, so we will conclude it here today. Now, if anybody has got any questions on the topic that we have covered, so they may ask.
Swamiji, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Last Friday, I was a bit colorless.
Colorless?
Thinking that things are very difficult, now becoming very difficult.
They're becoming very difficult. And now?
Difficult and steeper.
And now?
Now, today, with Tat Pad, I think things are not very far.
Okay, so there is an improvement. So there is some hope.
No, Swamiji, this is not an ordinary improvement. This is a great improvement. knowing that goal is very near to me. As a matter of fact, I am the goal.
You are the goal. Yes.
And unnecessarily searching everywhere.
We don't have to go searching for that anywhere.
Yeah.
Within us. We are that. Only we have to get rid of the blinkers. We have to get rid of the blinkers of avidya, ignorance that we have. That's all. And yes, jnana, sarva jnanam hai. So having known that, everything is known then.
Yeah. So Swamiji, the question is this. Okay, after realizing this self, the person takes a back seat in the auditorium and watches the drama which is going on the stage without participation, mental or physical or anything.
There is no, you may participate also, but if the participation is like fun, you don't take anything seriously. Having known the thing, like for example, the magician who knows all the magic tricks and he watches a magic show, will he be fascinated by that? He will sit in the audience and watch somebody else's magic show and he knows all the tricks. So he is seeing the fun, how people are getting fascinated.
I don't know, but some kind of a load is lifted from the head.
Oh, very good, very good. You sleep nicely today.
Yes. Without the tranquilizer.
Good.
There's no doubt about that, Swamiji. Having tasted the milk, all the ice creams are tasted.
So you don't have to go specifically to find any naturals or any Baskin Robbins or something like that. Good.
Very, very interesting, Swamiji. Very interesting today.
Yeah, this Tatpada Shodhanam, because now from one pada we are going into Tatpada, and that is excellent, you see. So, because then both the Tattvamasi, see what we are doing is the Tattvamasi, we are doing it. And so that the Tvam Pada we did first, and now we are understanding the Tat Pada, and that we are then understanding the clarity comes, and then slowly what happens is that we'll not start, we'll never take anything seriously in this world. Yes, but we don't have to be serious about anything. Spirituality is all about being sincere, not being serious. The deeper and deeper we go into this knowledge, then a time comes when we look at this entire existence as an encyclopedia of jokes. Even if you want to, you cannot take things seriously, you see. Once the truth behind it is understood. So things happen, good, bad, negative, positive, and all those things, they come and go, and all that thing is happening. So that is fine. But then birth happens, death also happens, health there, ill health is there, everything is there. So that is there, okay. But then once the truth is understood, then nothing is taken seriously.
Anybody else? Raseshwari,
No, thank you.
Asha,
That little one question, Swamiji, I get confused always.
What is that?
Lakshars and Tatastha Lakshan. They're two different, they both are indicating, but how are they two different words?
Many have got similar meaning, though they may be different words also. They are called as synonyms. Like, for example, Maya, Avidya, they are all synonyms. See? So ego also, Maya, Avidya, ego, they are all synonyms. They are different words. Maya, Avidya, Ahankara, but they are totally, it all amounts to ignorance only. So Lakshartha is the indicative meaning. Shabdartha or Vachyartha is the word meaning. So many a times word meaning cannot be taken. Even in translations also, when we translate from one language to another language, if you translate word to word meaning, some funny thing will come out. You see, for example, if you take any popular Hindi song, Bollywood song, you try to translate into English or some other language, word to word, it will all appear very funny. You see, so there the Lakshartha has to be taken, that Shabdartha will be really funny. And then the Lakshana, when Lakshana is there, because the absolute truth is infinite, and infinite cannot ever be described in finite words. As simple as that. So only pointers can be given or indications can be given. So therefore it is called a Lakshartha, Lakshana, or the Sanketa, indicated. That's all. That cannot be taken as description. We cannot take that the word Satchidananda also as a description of the absolute truth. No, that cannot be taken. But for us to understand, we say that it is existence absolute, knowledge absolute, and bliss absolute. For our understanding, we do that. Otherwise, that also cannot be taken. See? So, this description, all the so-called description, they are only as an indication. That's all. So whether it is some pointers given in the scriptures and so on, because in absolute sense, we cannot describe that infinite, as simple as that. So I hope that makes it clear.
Thank you.
Padmini?
Swamiji,
Yeah.
Yes.
Hari Om. Swamiji, today's lecture, where it was like pulling me back. Everything was round and round until we read and reread the thing and hear your discourse again and again. It is little confusing, especially the chapter number 30 and 31.
So 30 and 31.
Yes, Swami. That so two chapters were literally whirling round and round. It was giving me some confused picture.
Can I intervene, Swamiji?
Yes.
Asha, you listen to the recording.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if it's any doubt, confusion, there will clear on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be re-cleared because it is very confusing to me actually. It was
When
going round and round.
yeah, when we hear the scriptures for the first time also, many a times because it is difficult to comprehend and we are not prepared for it, and some things are confusing or something which is beyond our understanding, or some things simply we cannot accept. Because of our limited understanding, we simply cannot accept because of whatever uh, conceived ideas we may have, notions we may have about
Yes.
our own self, about this world, about God, about this creation and things like that. So many a times, many things are unacceptable because of the conditionings that we have brought with us at birth. Also, we have brought certain conditioning from the past life. Apart from that, then we have been conditioned in this life also through different sanskaras, different influences of people, then the school education, university education, and all that thing that also has influenced. And the things we see and experience in this outside world, that also influences. And then we create some kind of idea, notion, preconceived notions or ideas about different things, about ourselves, about the world around us, about the higher truths or God or whatever it is. And then to get out of those conditionings is not easy. And then when we are studying the scriptures, Vedantic texts, they actually start breaking down all those preconceived notions we may have had. And then that confuses us to a certain extent. And sometimes we find it a little difficult to accept also.
Padmini?
Swamiji,
Yeah, Hari Om
Yeah.
Swamiji.
Yes.
I didn't understand that causeless cause part of Tat.
It is the
How is the Tat
causeless
cause? What is meant by that?
cause of something that doesn't appear. Now see, causeless cause, the absolute truth is causeless cause of everything else. The absolute truth has got no
Yeah.
cause. It has got no cause. It is not the effect of any cause. Okay,
Yeah.
it is not the effect of any cause. So therefore, the absolute truth is causeless, and it is the cause of whatever appears other elsewhere. That is the samsara. Have you understood now the causeless cause? Absolute
So,
truth itself is not an effect of any cause,
yeah.
but that being the substratum, absolute truth is the causeless cause of all the other things. It itself is causeless. It has
Yeah.
got no cause because it is not an effect of something, so therefore it is causeless, but it is the cause of other appearance of this world. Without that substratum of that absolute truth, this world will not appear. For the appearance of the illusion of snake, there has to be the substratum of rope. Without a substratum of rope, the illusion of snake is not possible. So for the illusion of the world to appear, the substratum of the absolute truth has to be there. So it is the causeless cause.
Yes. Yeah,
I
thank you,
hope that is
Swamiji.
clear. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope that is clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji,
Yes.
there is a little bit of a confusion in the verse number 23, where it states that you know yourself to be the one self, a homogeneous mass of consciousness. Is this not quantifying quantifying consciousness in an inert manner? Because the
Consciousness,
moment the word mass is used means it's quantifying something.
so you see, these words that are used, they are just an indicative thing, because as we have seen earlier that infinite cannot be described in words. So words are used to explain to us in whatever way we can comprehend. Homogeneous mass of consciousness means what? That is unbroken, akhanda. The word homogeneous is used for that purpose.
Okay.
That is to indicate that it is unbroken, akhanda, indivisible. So for that, that word homogeneous is used.
Okay.
So bodha vigraha, that is called as. So therefore, it is not objectifying it or anything like that. So it is that doesn't mean that it is limited or as an object or it is limited to something. No. On the contrary, this consciousness is unbroken. There are no divisions. It is all pervasive or everywhere it is there. And then we have seen that it manifests only when there is something to the object, like the sunlight will reflect where the reflecting medium is there. So similarly, though the consciousness is everywhere, everything is not sentient or living. Some are insentient also, non-living also. Only where there is an instrument where it can be reflected, then that appears as sentient. So in the intellect, it gets reflected. So therefore, the creatures appear sentient and the objects appear insentient, like that. So therefore, the word homogeneous is used unbroken. It is unbroken just because, like when the sunlight falls on this earth, sunlight falls on this earth, and then there is a tree, and it is a daytime, and there is a white wall. So it is a daytime, and then we can see the white wall also. It is the daytime, sunlight, the sunlight is there and all that thing, but a part of the wall is also the shadow of the tree leaves are falling, and in between the tree leaves, sun rays are also coming in.
Yes.
Now the thing is that the wall itself is seen in the sunlight. Okay. Apart from that, now the sun rays are coming in between the leaves also and falling on the wall. Okay. So that means this sunlight is all pervading. It is already there on the wall. Wall is seen because without sunlight, it cannot be seen. So wall is seen. But then specifically also somewhere the sun rays in through the leaves, in between the leaves also falls on the wall, and that is seen separately also. So that doesn't mean that in other places the sunlight is not there. It is in the light of the sun itself. The other part of the wall is also seen. Or only, it is not that only the spot where the sunlight is falling that is seen. The other part of the wall is not seen. No. So similarly, consciousness is everywhere. That is why it is homogeneous, unbroken, indivisible, akhanda. So in specifically somewhere where it is reflected, then it is seen as sentient. Where it is not reflected, it remains just like that. That's all.
Right.
I hope that is clear.
Yes.
Anyone else? Anything? Any other question? So if there are no questions, should we conclude?
Yes, Swamiji, we can conclude.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.